Hello, my name is Michael Romig, and I am so excited to be able to talk to you about the 21-day detox challenge that we're going to be starting on January 16th, 2016. We will be conducting the detox workshop at 12 p.m. at our facility. And if you're listening to this recording and you weren't able to attend the workshop, that's okay because we're going to go over all of the information that you need to know um, to get started on the 2016 21-day detox. So I want to start by asking you this question. How many of you have tried a detox program before? This is a really important question because a lot of people have done like the Dr. Oz 3-day fast, or they've done, a juice fast or a 7-day cleanse, or they followed a number of other programs that are quote unquote considered detox programs. And and some of them are actually uh, some of them are really good and they can help reset your metabolism. But really, the whole point of a detox program is one that eliminates foods that can cause inflammation or bloating. And then, after a period of time, you reintroduce those foods to determine which foods you may be sensitive to or actually have food allergies to. So, most of you have probably never followed a detox program before or not a food elimination program. But let me ask you this question. How many of you have gotten your car's oil changed in the last 3 months? And I think everybody can answer yes to this question, or they've at least paid somebody to change their oil in the last 3 months or the last 3 to 5,000 miles. So think about it this way: if you're willing to get your cars or your vehicle's oil changed every 3 months or every 3 to 5,000 miles, but you've never followed a detox program before, just imagine if you just imagine if you were to buy a vehicle and it was 40 or 50 years ago, and you never changed the oil. That oil is gonna get clumpy. Your vehicle's probably going to break down, and our bodies are a lot more efficient than a car or a vehicle, so they're going to figure out a way to keep running. But there's always going to be a payoff, and that's why it's so important to make sure that you're following a detox program. So it's about time to get an oil change. You have to get rid of all of the bad oil, and then you've got to replace it with clean and fresh oil. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So our 21-day detox is there's a number of different documents that we can give you to help you get started. But what I want to go over just briefly is what's actually covered in our 21-day detox challenge manual, and we're going to talk specifically about why detoxification is so important. So before I get started, I just want to make sure to state this, but the detox is not intended it's not intended for the treatment or prevention of disease, nor is it a replacement for seeking medical treatment or professional fitness advice. Do not start a nutrition or physical activity program without first consulting with your physician. The use of this program is the sole risk of the participant. PG Fit is neither responsible nor liable for any harm or injury resulting from the use of this program. As I'm a certified nutritionist, all of the trainers at our facility are certified nutritionists, but we're not licensed dietitians, so we can't actually design meal plans for you. So the guidelines that I'm going to give you are just general guidelines, but uh, if you feel like you need to consult with a registered dietitian or even a medical doctor for to to a for certain um, medical conditions, pre-existing or medical conditions, I would advise you to do so. So there are several resources that we use to compile this manual, and one of my good friends, Mark McDonald, has helped us revise this 21-day detox program. So we're using a lot of his information. We're also using information from several books that were either by doctors or registered dietitians. So this is a very comprehensive program. So I want to start with this statement: let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. Hippocrates said this so long ago, but food should be your medicine. And there's a number of pre-existing medical or health conditions that could be avoided if we were making sure that we were providing our bodies with all of the proper nutrition. So the whole point of this detox program is to stop the yo-yo dieting madness. Now we're going to ask you to be restrictive for 7 to 21 days, and that's okay as long as you're doing it temporarily. But the whole point of this program is to make the appropriate lifestyle changes. Even if you just take one thing away that can set you on a path to success, that's exactly, then if that happens, then we've accomplished our overall goal. But the problem is when people start a diet, their metabolism slows down. And then when they end the diet, they start eating like they used to, and as a result they start gaining weight. The problem, if you look at the first three letters in the word diet, they spell die. And all diets are successful temporarily, but in the end they fail. And we don't want you to consider this to be a diet. Your diet should really be your lifestyle. It should be the way you eat all the time. The problem is when people start a diet, they'll lose weight they'll lose weight quickly, but there are three different types of weight loss. You can lose water, you can lose muscle, and you can lose fat. The quicker you lose weight, the more likely you are to lose water and muscle. And when people start eating normally again, they don't gain back the muscle that they've lost, but they gain back more fat. And so every time you follow a diet, you're losing muscle and gaining back more fat. So what happens over time is people actually they have a higher body fat percentage, they gain more weight as a result of dieting. So we want to stop the yo-yo dieting madness. So I love this quote, and I want you to understand this because you were born to be real, not to be perfect. There is no such thing as following a perfect program, and we don't want you to be perfect. So you're going to have to make this work into the cracks and crevices of your day. We're all busy, and if you don't feel that you can be as restrictive as as you as you as you think you can be with this program, then that's okay. If you don't think you can cut out alcohol or caffeine the first time you do a detox program, then don't do it. So you're going to have to determine what's appropriate for you. So why detox? Well, the goal is not necessarily to lose weight, but the goal is to improve your overall health and identify any underlying causes of why you might be overweight to begin with. It's to help detoxify and and, and help decrease de- uh, detoxicity and inflammation. And weight loss is simply just a side effect. Now, there are a number of sources why that cause inflammation or bloating. They can be uh, they can be additive habits such as coffee, sugar, alcohol, processed food, fast food, junk food, trans fats, high fructose corn syrup. I could go on, but there are, several sources that can cause inflammation or bloating, and those are, of course, the food allergens that are contained in gluten, dairy, soy, or corn, and then, of course, sugar and flour products, and then bad fats and alcohol. So what we're going to ask you to do is to refrain from using those particular foods or beverages. And then after 7 to 21 days, you can add some of those foods back into your diet. So, what is toxicity? Well, toxicity, toxins can be both external and internal. External toxins are, all the chemical toxins and heavy metals. Chemical toxins are mostly commonly found in cleaning products, personal care products, pesticides, herbicides, and even food additives. Internal toxins include the waste products of bacteria, yeast, and other microbial organisms. This can infer interfere with our normal metabolism as well as increase inflammation and oxidative stress. So the toxic load on your body comes from your diet and and chronic stress, which we want to be able to teach you some stress management techniques later on, and then of course your environment. So toxicity impairs really two metabolic organs, and they are the liver and your thyroid. So they they damage your mitochondria. Toxicity can damage your mitochondria, and that's basically like the powerhouse of your cell. That's the site where energy metabolism occurs, and then they can harm brain neurotransmitters and hormone signaling that affects our appetite. And we'll talk a little bit about leptin and ghrelin, but that's extremely important to make sure that you're stabilizing all of your hormones so that you're able to effectively lose weight and um, and see the results that you're looking for. And increasing inflammation and uh, oxidative stress, both of which promote weight gain. So uh, if we can help remove toxins and impurities from your diet, not only is it going to help you feel better, but it's going to help balance your hormones. And as a byproduct, you're going to be able to start losing weight or gaining muscle. So what is inflammation? Being inflamed makes you fat, and being fat makes you inflamed. I'm sure you've all experienced a time where maybe you ate something that you probably shouldn't have eaten, and then you wake up the next day and you just feel kind of bloated. You feel kind of inflamed. Inflammation comes from sugar we eat. High doses of the wrong kinds of oils and fats in our diet. Specifically omega 6 and 9 versus omega 3, and then hidden food allergies, lack of exercise, chronic stress, and hidden infections in our fat cells. Low-grade chronic inflammation can lead to heart disease, cancer, diabetes, dementia, and more. And this is a really important point because a lot of people are suffer from chronic inflammation, and as a result, they're leading to some, uh, some of these horrible diseases. And part of doing an elimination diet is to identify what foods can cause inflammation or bloating, or what can cause chronic health and weight problems. So we want to give your body a break from common food allergies and sensitivities, and see if you lose weight and your symptoms get better or disappear. So, the healthy psychological response. I was talking to my son the other day, and we were talking about the importance of sugar, and I said, Ben, you're a sugarholic. And he kind of looked at me a little puzzled. And I said it jokingly, but the reality is we're all sugarholics to some extent. Sugar is a drug, and it's one of the most added ingredients to all of processed and refined foods. Nutrient poor, high sugar, salt, carbohydrate dense foods are addictive. They're just as addictive as some of the Schedule One drugs like cocaine or marijuana, but they can alter the pleasure and reward and emotional pathways in the brain. They have the same neurological. They activate some of the same neurological pathways that some of these addictive drugs do, and wheat can actually bind to the opiate receptors in your brain. Chronic stress and lack of sleep just make things even worse. And foods rich in carbohydrates increase your serotonin and other feel-good hormones. We eat frankenfoods, and these are like the high sugar, high trans fat, high preservative, unnatural processed foods because of their lack of nutrients. Well, we have a tendency to overeat them. So, one of the keys of this program is to help stabilize your blood sugar. Now, glycogen is your body's primary source for fuel, and blood sugar is or glycogen is just a fancy word for blood sugar. Your blood sugar should be somewhere in a range of about 80 to 120 milligrams per deciliter. When your blood sugar is not stable, you're not going to be able to efficiently burn fat. If you skip a meal, for example, breakfast, if you restrict your calories, for example, like if you're dieting, or cut your carbohydrates, which typically is the case with most diets, what happens is your blood sugar drops. And when your blood sugar drops, you start to burn muscle. As a defense mechanism, your body holds on to the fat, your energy levels crash, and then the cravings increase. And typically, when the cravings increase, we don't crave a well balanced meal like a lean protein and a complex carbohydrate. No, we start craving all of the the Franken foods that we were just talking about. And as a result of eating those foods, we consume too many calories or too many carbohydrates, and then our blood sugar spikes and we start storing fat. And it's this vicious cycle that not only happens while we're awake, but it also happens when we're sleeping at night. So the key is to make sure that you're eating in threes, you're eating every 3 to 4 hours, you're balancing your protein, your fat, and your carbohydrates so that you can stabilize your blood sugar and to be able to efficiently burn fat. Because when your blood sugar is stable, fat is actually released into the bloodstream, it's absorbed by the muscle, and it's used as energy. So let's talk about some hormonal responses because it all starts by managing your blood sugar. If you're not able to stabilize your blood sugar, there's no way you're going to be able to stabilize your other hormones. And hormonal imbalances start when you consume too many carbohydrates, as we mentioned. And the overconsumption of carbohydrates, leads to an excess of glucose and triglycerides in the bloodstream, and this promotes the leptin resistance. This promotes leptin resistance in the brain. Leptin is an important hormone because it tells our brain that we're full. And leptin resistance means that your brain is not hearing the leptin message, and it still thinks that it's starving. And so what happens is, if your brain still thinks that it's starving, you're going to overeat, and that's why we're having that's why so many people are consuming too many carbohydrates, because that leptin is not sending that signal back to your brain to tell you that you're full or that you're satiated. And cortisol is a stress hormone, and chronically elevated cortisol levels increase your blood sugar and they spike your insulin because your body is in this fight and flight mode, and then as a result, it makes it just starts the vicious cycle. So it's so important to make sure that you're managing your stress, that you're making sure that you eat in threes to stabilize your blood sugar so that you can stabilize all of your hormones. So that is why detoxification is so important. And I just wanted to make sure that you understood that it's so important to make sure that you're eliminating all the foods that can cause inflammation or bloating for a number of reasons. They're going to help you, you know, I, it's going to help you not only improve your overall health, but to help you reset your metabolism and start achieving the body that you've always meant to have. So how can you sign up? Well, you can go to 21daydetox.pgfit.com and you can sign up right there on the website. That website again is 21daydetox.pgfit.com, and you can sign up. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can email us at info@pgfit.com, or you can call us at 832-303-7004. We hope you found this to be beneficial, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.